On the show this week, I'll be complaining about technology, quickly reviewing a book, and giving you my reading for the month of February. Hi everyone, and thanks for tuning back into Robert Farrah's Tea and Tarot. It's been one of those weeks. I've been hitting my head against the brick wall of technology a bit this week. I was making a website for my tarot practice and the website just collapsed. I went back to it one morning and it had sort of disintegrated, and in that way that digital things sometimes do. And then I just got up and running doing live readings on Facebook, and then one day it just didn't really work. All you could see was a green screen and you could hear my voice but sort of harmonized upwards so that I sounded a bit like, well, Dolly Parton, or should I say maybe Elizabeth Hurley would be more accurate. And then the final straw was that I'd been making these videos for about 9 months and I'm very happy with my technical setup, and then suddenly my iMovie stopped working. Heaven knows why. So everything is a bit beschränkt, as they say in Germany. I'm offering a reduced service. This video will have less exciting little flourishes in it to hold your attention and stop you from switching over to someone more interesting than me. But I'm going to be doing my best. I'm turning up, I'm here, I'm going to review a book, and I'm going to give you a reading for the month of February. A YouTube friend, someone who watches my videos and gives me feedback and chats with me, recommended a book. And this book is called 12 House Tarot Spreads, and it's by Elizabeth Hazel. It's a big, jolly book. It looks like it's been self-published. It's a little bit eccentric in some ways. It's got a variety of different graphic styles inside it and occasional very sweet sort of neo-art nouveau illustrations by the author. And this book does exactly what it says on the tin. I'm going to try and find you another lovely illustration by the author. Can you see that? It's a very chatty, nicely written, sweet-natured book. And the thing about it is it's actually quite hardcore. It's written by someone who knows a lot about astrology and a lot about tarot reading, and it really does focus on this one quite well-established, quite popular spread, the 12 house spread. And I've made a video explaining that spread, and you can find it in my menu of videos. And this woman explains really the connection between astrology and tarot and how this 12 house spread originated and how you can vary it. And you really get a lot of variations. You start off with your 12 house spread, and then it becomes ever more sophisticated. There's one with 10 cards, and then one with 14 cards. What I found really fascinating about this book is that she explains a thing called horological astrology. And this is actually where the 12th house spread originated. And I think it was invented by Etela, the tarotist, the famous tarotist, who really kind of partly invented tarot reading. Jean-Baptiste Alliette, better known to tarotists as Etela, created the first specifically occult tarot deck, the Grand Eteilla, ou Tarot Égyptien. The Grimaud 1975 edition of the deck is based on Etela's original deck published in 1788. Etela also developed the original 12 house spread. And she says the astrological method underlying this spread is called horary astrology. And what makes you want to scream about horary astrology is how it works. And the concept is this. You know about astrology. You've got 12 houses, you've got planets flying around, and that tells you about what a person's like based on when they were born. You can also do an astrological chart for a relationship or for a town based on when that started or was founded. Horary astrology is very interesting. You can ask a question like, for example, where are my house keys? And how it works is this. The querent, the person asking the question, puts the question to the astrologer. And the astrologer checks that she or he has understood the question and then has a look at the time, notes down the time. Okay, 12 o'clock, January the 28th, 2021. That's the time when the question was put to me and I understood the question. And then the astrologer does a horoscope for that minute, for that moment. And within this horoscope is contained the answer to the question, where are my house keys? Which, as I say, I find makes me want to scream. I think it's fantastic. And it's also, I would say, quite complicated when she explains how you get from this horoscope to the house keys. Certain planets have certain meanings. Some of them mean gold, some mean silver. And of course, the houses, they represent parts of the life and even rooms in a house. So if you're really, really clever, you can look at this horoscope spread and you can see where those lost house keys actually are. So it's specialised reading, ladies and gentlemen, but nonetheless interesting for that. And anyway, from this concept of horary astrology clearly comes the idea of the 12th house spread. But instead of looking for the answer in the planets, we're just whopping the tarot cards down into this 12th house configuration, and then we're interpreting them with a quasi-astrological slant, if you know what I mean. So 12th house tarot spreads by Elizabeth Hazel, recommended if you are into an in-depth look at that sort of thing. So this week I'm going to look at what's on the cards for the month of February 2021. I've got the Ghetto Tarot here, one of my favourites, a very ravishing reconstruction of the tarot done in the favelas of Haiti by Alice Smeets and a local art collective called Atis Rezistans. I've actually recently reviewed this deck, I think 2 weeks ago, so you can find that. I have a playlist called Deck Reviews, you'll find it there. And later on in this year, the photographer who made this deck is bringing out a second deck on Kickstarter. I've actually ordered that deck, I've supported her with that. And so the deck will be coming in sometime in the spring or summer, and we'll have a look at that deck. But for now, the coming month of February 2021. We live in strange times, don't we, ladies and gentlemen, because it's with sort of some trepidation that one puts down cards for the future month these days. We keep hoping for good news, and yet somehow it's not as simple as that, is it? Still, we soldier on because we're tough, and I am going to put down 4 cards in the way that I have been doing for the past few months. I'm going to ground myself. Okay, can I shuffle the cards? These cards are big. They're quite difficult to shuffle. They're stonkers, in fact. Okay, so please give us a 4-card reading for February 2021. Main theme, past influences, obstacles, opportunities. Okay, looking around the table, we have cups, we have swords, we have 5s, we have thoughts, we have emotions, we have disappointment, and we have defeat. We have the 7 of Cups in the obstacles position. We are finding it difficult to tell the difference between the needs of our egos and the needs of our spirit. We're finding it difficult to choose the correct way to feel, the best way to behave, the best road to go down. Clearly, in the past position here, 4 of Swords, we are exhausted. We have been hospitalized. Speaking for myself, I had COVID, I had my all clear in early November, so I haven't had 3 months of recuperation yet, and my energy is still low. That's affecting us, that's making it a little bit difficult to make decisions and take choices. What's provocative about this reading is that card really speaks for itself. This is in the overall position, the 5 of Cups. As we know from the 5 of Cups, this is a card of upset, It's also a coded message from the tarot. In other words, that 3 of the cups have been overturned, but there are 2 behind the figure that have not been overturned. It's not a complete disaster that we're looking at here. There are still resources, there are still opportunities, we still have a future. I actually find the Ghetto Tarot very different to read from the normal sort of more graphic, iconic tarot decks that we find, because it's photographs and because the tarot archetypes are, it's like a waking dream. They're hidden in plain sight. Here we are in a real place with an artist dressed up as a tarot card. And I think these cards come in the tradition of surrealistic art. We are invited to really read that photograph. And sure, in a way, all of the cards in the Ghetto Tarot are set in a setting of upset, potential upset, disaster, poverty, defeat. These are people who are undeniably excluded and disadvantaged and are getting by on an absolute minimum. So to receive a message of hope in a catastrophe, in a disaster, from these people in the slums of Haiti is really very humbling and very touching. And that is the card that I would like us all to really have a look at today. The 5 of Cups from the Ghetto Tarot. Perhaps very provocatively in this spread, we have the 5 of Swords in the opportunities position. The 5 of Swords has a similar structure to it from the 5 of Cups, in that there has been a defeat, but there is life beyond this defeat. We are always encouraged by the 5 of Swords to pick ourselves up off the ground, acknowledge the defeat, and move on. Again, this is a very beautiful restaging. If you look at Pamela Coleman Smith's original, it's all there. They're actually quite faithful to the original, but these actors in Haiti have really brought out and honoured some of the tiniest details in the Pam Coleman Smith drawing. And for example, here we see the figures in the background. We see this guy pensive, and the guy in the far distance is absolutely distraught. So there is a lot of pain in the 5 of Swords. But here, this guy, who in the Pam Coleman Smith deck, he looks like the winner of the battle, the victor. But in this deck, he looks a bit more pensive. And I think the implication is that there are no winners and no losers in a war. It's just a disaster. It's a conflict. And I think that's what's going on for all of us at the moment. So Possibilities of the Month looks like a real meditation on the meaning of misfortune and the meaning of defeat. I'm going to put down 2 more cards for the 4th position, the Opportunities of the Month. Okay, so we have the 10 of Cups, the happiness, the happy ever after card, and we have the 6 of Swords. So the narrative of that seems very, very gentle and very, very clear to me. The progress from 5 to 6 is absolutely natural. From 5 to 6, from the battle that someone won but someone lost, to the escape over water. They may be the people who lost the battle, and it may be that they're now sailing on to a better place, but they have escaped. They're still alive. They still have each other. You can see this progress also if I show you the 2 cards in the RWS. And in between the 2, we have the 10 of Cups, the card of happy ever after. And for me, that message is very clear, that our happiness lies in our willingness to pick ourselves up off the ground and dust ourselves down after disaster, after defeat, and strike out for new experiences, new ways of living life, new places to be, just to keep exploring and to keep looking and to keep open and to keep believing that there is something better for us in the future. I'm going to draw 2 more cards for the first position, just to flesh out that reading. Okay, we have the Moon reversed, and we have the 6 of Pentacles. So this then is not an endless test that we find ourselves in. It's not an endless nightmare. It's not an endless test of character. There is a limit. There is an end in sight. The Moon is arguably a dark night of the soul. And here we have it reversed. Here we have some of its energy, some of the force of that energy is being switched off. And we have an image of generosity, of giving and receiving. So I think in the present moment, during the month of February, there is an opportunity of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and of supporting each other, continuing to support each other and receiving support and being open to support from other people. On the whole, the cards feel kind of brutally honest, but also quite gentle. And having done this reading, I find it quite interesting that I chose the Ghetto Tarot. I don't read with it very much. I find it quite challenging to read with, and when I do read with it, I have the Rider-Waite cards around with me to help me to reconnect with the classic meanings. But I think what I'd like to say is that there is a certain sort of message from the people of Haiti coming through in this month's reading via the Ghetto Tarot, which is that if they can survive, so can we. And let me just read you something from the Ghetto Tarot little white book. In Haiti, ghetto means a life in the slums. It means living without financial security. Yet ghetto also means community, family, solidarity, strength, and rich creativity. So I think that's a nice note to end on. Stay well, stay safe, take vitamin D, even though I know I'm not allowed to give health advice on YouTube. Tune in next week. You have been watching Robert Farrah's Tea and Tarot. Lovely to commune with you via the airwaves. Write in if you have any questions or if you want me to do a reading about anything. Stay in touch, like, comment, share, all those silly old things, and I'll see you next week. Bye.